Imagine this. You've packed your bags, you're at the airport, and your boarding pass is in hand. But when you get to the counter, the agent shakes their head. Your passport renewal was rejected. Not expired. Not fraudulent. Rejected. Why? Because of Canada's sweeping new passport policies, rules that could keep thousands of Canadians grounded. This isn't just a minor policy tweak. It's a fundamental overhaul of how Canadians prove their identity, prove their residency, and even prove their loyalty. And trust me, the process is no longer fast, fair, or affordable. Today on Continental Explorer, we're uncovering the brutal truth about Canada's new passport rules, changes that could wreck your travel plans, drain your wallet, and put your privacy on the line. So buckle up, because this isn't just about passports. It's about the freedom to move in an era where governments are quietly building walls you can't even see. Part 1, the residency test. Are you Canadian enough? For decades, renewing a Canadian passport was simple. Fill out a form, send in your old passport, maybe provide a photo, and that was it. But in 2025, things have changed. Now, applicants must prove they've been physically living in Canada. The government demands supporting documents, tax returns, utility bills, employment records, even lease agreements, to confirm residency. On paper, it sounds like a fraud prevention measure. But in practice, it's a nightmare for expats, students, snowbirds, and dual citizens. If you've been studying abroad for a year, you might be flagged. If you spend winters in Florida, you could be told you're not resident enough. If you're a digital nomad paying Canadian taxes but living overseas part of the year, you're suddenly in legal limbo. The problem? There's no clear definition of how much time in Canada counts as enough. 6 months. 9 months. The rules are vague, and officials are interpreting them inconsistently. Some renewals are approved. Others are denied without explanation. This has effectively created a two-tier system of citizenship. Canadians with no international ties. They breeze through renewals. Canadians with global lives. They're interrogated, delayed, and sometimes outright refused. And it begs the question, does being Canadian now depend on where you live, or how much proof you can provide? Part 2, the interview era, from renewal to interrogation. Here's another bombshell. First-time adult passport applicants now face mandatory in-person interviews. That's right. No more mailing your forms and waiting. Instead, you need to book an appointment, show up at a passport office, and answer questions about your travel history and residency. The government says this combats fraud. But the reality is far more complicated. Rural Canadians may have to travel hundreds of kilometers just to reach an office. Families with limited income are forced to pay for travel and time off work. And with demand skyrocketing, interviews are booked solid for months. What should be a routine step in citizenship is becoming an interrogation. Applicants have reported being grilled about why they visited certain countries, why they spent time abroad, or even about old employment gaps. It feels less like verifying your identity, and more like defending your right to have a Canadian passport at all. Part 3, Processing Delays, a System Collapsing. If that wasn't enough, let's talk about the elephant in the room, processing delays. Remember when renewals took 2 to 4 weeks? That's history. In 2025, official timelines now stretch up to 20 weeks, 5 months, for standard service. Even expedited service can mean waiting 2 to 9 weeks. And here's the kicker. One small mistake on your form, a missing signature, or a blurry photo can reset the entire process. That's months of wasted time, missed flights, and lost opportunities. Canadians are already feeling the consequences. Weddings abroad missed. Job offers rescinded because documents didn't arrive. Family reunions cancelled. The government blames staffing shortages and high demand. But critics say it's the result of years of underfunding Passport Canada, a slow-motion crisis now exploding in public view. Part 4, the new passport price tag, a hidden cash grab. If the wait wasn't painful enough, brace yourself for the cost. In 2020, a standard 10-year adult passport cost $120. Today, $160. That's a 33% increase. And that's just the base fee. Now add in expedited service fees, $50 to $110. File retrieval fees, $45 if they need old records. Photo verification fees, $20 or more. In-person service charges at some offices, $25. And here's the cruel part, if your application is denied, you don't get your money back. Want to try again? Pay all over again. This isn't just inflation. This feels like a cash grab hidden behind bureaucracy. Part 5, Digital ID, the passport of the future. Perhaps the most controversial change isn't even about fees or delays. It's about data. Canada is quietly rolling out plans to link passports with a national digital ID system. Your passport won't just be a travel document, it will be connected to government databases, facial recognition, and potentially even your online records. Officials say this will streamline travel and cut down on identity theft. But privacy advocates are raising alarms. Who owns your biometric data once it's uploaded? Can it be shared with private companies? Could future governments deny passport renewals based on political activity, online speech, or even unpaid debts? This isn't science fiction. Other countries are already experimenting with social credit-style digital IDs. And once the infrastructure is in place, the line between convenience and surveillance can blur very quickly. For Canadians, the risk is clear: the passport may become not just a ticket to travel, but a tool to control who gets to move, and who doesn't. Part 6, Criminal Records, the past that haunts you. Here's another shift that's raising eyebrows. Even minor criminal offenses can now block passport renewals. In the past, only major crimes, terrorism, serious fraud, national security threats, were considered. But now, Canadians with old DUIs, small possession charges, or other non-violent records are being denied passports. Advocates argue this keeps dangerous individuals from slipping through the cracks. Critics counter that it's punishing people twice, long after they've served their sentence. Imagine being 45 years old, building a career abroad, and suddenly denied travel because of a mistake you made at 19. That's not security. That's control. Part 7, Who gets hurt the most? When we piece it all together, who bears the brunt of these changes? Low-income Canadians who can't afford expedited fees. Rural Canadians hours away from a passport office. Dual citizens and expats caught in the residency trap. Students and workers abroad who now face barriers to proving their ties. Ordinary families missing life milestones because the system has collapsed. This isn't just about inconvenience. It's about who Canada prioritizes, and who it pushes to the margins. Part 8, What can Canadians do? So, what's the path forward? Apply early. If your passport expires within a year, renew it now. Document everything: keep utility bills, tax slips, and bank statements on file. Double-check applications to avoid costly delays. Speak up, contact your member of parliament, file complaints, and push for transparency. Because here's the truth, governments rarely roll back control once they have it. If Canadians stay silent, these restrictive policies will only tighten. At its core, a passport is more than a piece of paper. It's the key to freedom of movement. And when a government makes that key harder to obtain, more expensive to hold, and more invasive to use, it's not just policy. It's a redefinition of citizenship itself. So, is this about fraud prevention, or is it about control? Is it about efficiency, or about squeezing more money out of citizens? The future of Canadian travel hangs in the balance. And unless Canadians push back, the right to move may slowly become a privilege, one reserved for the few who can afford the fees, clear the interviews, and prove their loyalty on demand. What do you think? Are these new passport rules justified, or are they an assault on your freedom to travel? Sound off in the comments, share this video, and let's make sure every Canadian knows the truth before it's too late. This has been Continental Explorer. Until next time, travel safe, and stay free.